Okay, hello everybody. My name is Zach, and today I'll be talking with Ryan about his artistry and his career so far. He's an artist, songwriter, producer, and creative who's been building his name through his music and unique sound. So yeah, let's get into it. For those people who may not be too familiar with your work, Ryan, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first got into music.
So I've always been in tune with music growing up as a youngin.
Hmm.
Um, so I just always just had an inkling into it. I really feel like it wasn't until like around 2016, 2017 that we really was really a transformative time in my life to be like, okay, I might as well just start doing this like myself. So I was lucky enough to be a part of a program called Rhyme Room that was in After School Matters here in Chicago. Um, and they pretty much was all about getting young kids into the studio, seeing like how like creating a song is and pretty much just putting that out into the world and seeing how like everybody likes it and everything. But the whole point of it was just like theme of collaboration.
Hmm.
And so after that, I really just been taking my time with it and just really just making music. But I've always been in tune with the music.
Yeah, that's
So
really
yeah,
cool. So kind of like an after school program sparked your interest, and it's just been like part of your life ever since.
yeah. But the interest is always like in my life,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. It's just I didn't have an outlet to really like fully take it into consideration until that moment. And yeah, it's
Absolutely.
been that ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Who were some of your biggest musical influences growing up, would you say?
I listen to a lot of different stuff. Like so many different artists come to mind when that question is always brought up. I would
Hmm.
say to Kanye West, honestly. Well,
Yeah.
Yay now. Um, a lot of different artists like uh,
I was going to say, with
to
your roots being in Chicago, I figured that answer
you
was
know,
coming. Yeah,
you
obviously.
know, Ricky Martin, just to throw a curveball,
Nice.
and Pumpkins, a lot of different alt bands, Linkin Park, Lupe Fiasco, just to name a few off the top of my head. It's just a whole lot of different things.
Absolutely. I understand that. As you started making music, how would you say that your sound has evolved from your first release or when you were, first starting to produce and stuff like that until your most recent projects?
So the first song I ever uploaded to SoundCloud wasn't produced by me. It was produced by one of the mentors in the program that I was in.
Okay.
And I just had like little like tips and stuff that I wanted out the production. And he just did that and took my input, which I really thought that was amazing at the time. Um, but in terms of like that was more so just like very pop lenient, very radio friendly, very commercial. It wasn't until around like COVID happened that I really wanted to like take things really seriously, but all the studios really shut down. So
Hmm.
it was really like, okay, how do I really like get back into the swing of things without really like putting myself in, harm's way with this COVID shit. So I started recording myself. And the first song that I recorded and mixed myself was this song called 1158 Flash Composure. And that song I really sampled the bars. I sample songs that I like. So that's a very recurring theme that I feel like I want to keep in a lot of my work. So it started with the bars with I like it and just took that, flipped that, and really just tried to like give it a new feel. And I've tried to like instill that nature with everything that I do. So
Yeah,
from then to
absolutely.
now, it's really like a big difference because now I'm really like leaning into more of like the alternative, like rock sensibilities. with the music now. So it's very interesting.
Hmm. Fair enough. Would you say that I've always been curious about people and artists who sample different parts of music. What is it that fascinates you about turning a sample into like creating it into your own kind of song? Is that just like I have a lot of respect for the song and I want to add my own spin on it, or is it just like a feeling that you get when you feel like you can take this a different direction?
I feel like it's a little bit of both because at one point it is homage to everything that I grew up with, but at the same time it's like my spin on it as well. So it's really like still in the essence of creativity, and I really just enjoy just like doing that and trying to like to make something that is very like not similar but like really a new form that really not only represents what the inspiration is, but where also that you feel me, it could take it to. And I feel like that's the beauty of sampling in and of itself. And that there's a lot of misconception with sampling because of
Mhm.
just like how it's has been done recently in the past like 5, 7 years. But I promise you there are people that are still like doing this and truly making an impact with it.
Absolutely. If you could describe your music in a few words, I guess your most recent project, what would you, how would you describe it to people who are unfamiliar?
Um, I would describe it as a mix of real realness and just being open and honest. So I look at it as a mirror, but I feel like in one way to describe like the whole sound of the project, I feel like it's very alternative. It's very uh, transformative. It
Hmm.
is definitely from a place of not emotion, but real um like I was looking inward the whole time. Like I'm holding the mirror to myself and being like, okay, this is what's wrong. What am I doing wrong? And
Yeah,
what do I do to finish that cycle?
100%. And I think when I was listening to your project, Songs for the Broken, like you can feel like your vulnerability and your like your personal introspection, like you were talking about. But then there's also like the soundscape, like on your song, like Rock Out and Record Time. Like there's like a little bit of like an abrasiveness to the like the production. So speak on like that sort of like contrast of like you want to have like a vulnerability in your song and your songwriting and your lyrics, but also the production can be like a fast song and sort of juxtapose those elements. What would you say to that?
So like that's really that's a great question. First and foremost, I appreciate you for asking that.
Yeah, thank you.
Answer. It's really I listen to a lot of different shit, and so like I be noting like how a lot of what people are saying and like the background of like the music is really like doing that, and a lot of juxtaposition in mind that really comes to mind when it comes to like that type of like stuff is like Smashing Pumpkins or like Nine Inch Nails or like even Lupe Fiasco with a lot of like his older work with like Kick Push being like a whole metaphor for like skating, but also at the same time just like keeping forward, even with dealing with all these obstacles. So I like to take that juxtaposition and try to like make some sense of it, but also at the same time keep it in this realm of reality to where like this is real and this did happen, but also at the same time, this is what I'm like doing to combat at the same time of like finding my way through it, navigating it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, what stories or emotions would you say you're trying to communicate through your music? I mean, obviously you talked about being vulnerable on this album, and I imagine that you're trying to, be relatable and have people connect to that. but is there any like, you know, emotions that you're trying to evoke from your audience?
Really just like a feeling that I could describe the audience that would really like best represent like really some of the stuff that I have been dropping recently more so is just really like trying to like blend the style between like all of like the rock influences mixed with like the hip hop stuff that I like.
Hmm.
And seeing like the general consensus being like, oh, this is fire is really like it helps. But in like a live setting, I always question that because you know how some people are with attention spans nowadays is very quick. So it's like trying to hold people's attention for as long as I can is really what's been like a prevalent matter that I'd be trying to like not stress it too much about, but at the same time, just like just see where it lands.
Yeah, great answer. Let's like we touched a little bit about social media and how it like it's a factor in today's artistic world, but I want to touch on a little bit more. Um, how has it like helped you grow as an artist, and do you do you feel like a sort of responsibility to make sure that your social platforms are like available and producing content sometimes that can help you grow as an artist?
See, social media is really a double-edged sword with everything because everybody gets so caught up in the content, they lose sight of what they're actually like presenting to people. So with that, always try to put the music first
Hmm.
and always first. If you're not gonna like the music, you're not gonna like the promotion, you know? So it's like, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. Cause like I've had some experiences with social media being like, oh, I listened to a snippet of this crazy song and then I listened to the whole song and it was like that was the only exciting part of the song. And I was like, oh, okay.
that's a great
you
point.
know?
Yeah, that's a great point.
But I feel like as long as I'm trying to put the music first and forward, I feel like everything else will just, you know,
Hmm.
into place.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You don't want the content and kind of the marketing aspect to overshadow the actual product, and especially, like you mentioned, being like in a vulnerable project, you don't want all of the, you know, side activities to get in the way of something that you're really proud of. So I respect that.
Appreciate you so much. Literally. Not a lot of people respect that, especially in this day and age, but there's, a dime a dozen. So I'm not really complaining for real.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I've come across multiple videos when I'm scrolling or something like that where I hear like a portion of a song and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check this out. Doesn't deliver in the same way that I thought it would. But like you said, that's just some people choose to market their music differently, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is something people misunderstand about being an independent artist?
Ooh, that's a great question. A lot of misconceptions I would say is that a lot of independent artists are uh, it's a great question. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness.
I mean, if you want to, I can ask you what are some advantages of being an independent artist?
I would say the advantage of being an independent artist would be like you're not really the advantage and disadvantage is that it's really on you,
Yeah, that
like at
makes
the end of the
sense.
day. So give or take, how you run with it is how you move with it. But I feel like in this current landscape for being an independent artist, because it is so saturated, I feel like it's really harder to really stand out, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I get that 100%. Like you're saying, and I agree with what you said because it's kind of like a two-way street. You being independent means you have total control over your music and everything, and no one's touching that, right? You have the final say in every term, every stage of the process.
Every
But
time.
then, but then again, like you're saying, so many everybody's trying to make music nowadays. It's like a little. boost from somebody or like a little like label giving you promotion in this sort of aspect. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about like some challenges that come with making music or like some difficult moments maybe you've had in your career. What's one of the biggest obstacles that you've encountered, whether that be, trying to rush a project to finish it or like you're just having writer's block? Like what comes to mind for that?
Really, writer's block. I'm not gonna lie. I had suffered from writer's block a little bit. Um, around like 22, 23, while I was making Weeks Away too.
Hmm.
And it was really just me being like overly self-conscious about what I was doing and like not really like focusing so much on like what I'm doing, but more so like how I'm moving, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That was really transformative because like to like I had to find a way to like maneuver through that water's block. It really helped me like deal with that in like such a creative way. Because at first the whole Weeks Away 2 project wasn't gonna be about like how it was.
Hmm.
It was honestly just gonna be just a crazy follow up with like crazy beats just to like accentuate how the second one is, how the first one was. But because I kept having writer's block and because like I just kept feeling stuck, that became like the real inspiration of it. Like, okay, why do I feel stuck? Is it because of this job? Is it because of like how I'm feeling right now?
Hmm.
What is like the real end all be all of the root of the problem so I can attack it and let it be that? And that's really why Let the Sunrise is so important because I was able to truly like encapsulate not only how I was feeling throughout the track list in a sense, but also just like still put that bow at the top. Like, yeah, although all of this happened, we're still here for the sunrise. Like, that was just a
Yeah.
crazy long night, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned, um, well, we talked about, your rhyme room, right?
Hmm.
And I want to know, I think it could be common for people who have got interest in like a creative field early on in life, and then they feel burnout later on, or they're
Hmm.
like, I've taken this to its end, and then I want to try something else. How do you stay motivated, or is it just like an innate feeling that this is what you were meant to do, kind of thing?
Partially, it is because I feel like it was what I was meant to do. But on the other side of it, it was because I was really interested in like how like songs are made that like I got into making music in the first place.
Hmm.
So it was really just remembering why I started making music in a sense that keeps me going. But then I also like look at artist interviews and just like anything dealing with music in general, whether that be like say, I don't know if you know this like popular YouTuber, but I wouldn't say he's kind of popular, but he's pretty popular. Like Rick Beato, if you're familiar with him,
No.
he's very like musical, and he always like tries to like break down songs of like why certain songs work in a
Oh,
sense,
okay.
and
Yeah,
like
I've
that
I've
really
seen
like
guys. Hmm.
like it always sparks my brain. But like really like artist interviews and just like looking like behind the scenes of like certain pieces of work, like that always like intrigued me, like not only as a fan but just like as a music listener. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like you have this like almost like big curiosity for everything that's going on for the every
Mhm.
element of songwriting and also like other people's songs. So I think that's cool.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a look forward to some stuff that you want to accomplish. But first, what does success mean to you? Because I can imagine for an artist, it comes in many different forms. Some people think like just completing a project is awesome. Some people are like well, I want to achieve so and so. I want it to sound like this. So what does it mean for you?
For me, success is really just determined by how I feel, if that makes any sense. Because everybody's terms of success is different. Like some people want to be like, oh, I don't want to say I made it until I got played like Coachella or like I got a Grammy.
Yeah.
But if I'm being realistic, just me doing what I'm doing is really just in it the fulfillment that I need for itself. I could win a Grammy and I would love to win a Grammy, but like I gotta realize that like that's not why I do music, if that makes
Absolutely.
sense.
Yeah. It's yeah, like gratifying your music is supposed to like gratify others and yourself. And so I think that's like a very respectable answer. Like you said,
Yeah.
some artists would be chasing money, streams, notoriety and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's like if I make a song that I think is good and people like it, I think that's success in its own right.
It's 100%, 100%.
Okay, we can do a little bit of projecting. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where would you hope, ideally or envision yourself? What's on the bucket list?
Bucket list is to do like a whole tour. Like
Mm,
I'm at all different cities, like New York, Dallas, Minneapolis, to name a few off the top of my head. But
yeah.
just to do a tour, it would be amazing. I would like to perform Rolling Loud one time. I
Mhm.
could see that happening in 5 years.
Yeah, I think that's like a logical step. I mean, I think that's on every artist's bucket list to perform at a big show like that. I think that'd be so cool.
You know,
Yeah. What impact do you hope that your music, has on listeners, or at least like what kind of legacy is like a heavy word, but what kind of, impact do you want to make to people through your music?
so like the impact that I truly want to make is to just truly like find some sort of like not like solace with the music, but like really just like finding ways to like better yourself, if that makes any sense. Because
Hmm.
some points in my life I'm a little crazy, some points I'm really not, and I'm very grateful for just being able to like live my life, you know. So taking it all in, I feel like just like really being yourself to the highest degree and just just taking everything that comes with like being yourself and all like the ups and downs and just
Hmm.
rocking out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great answer again. All right. Before we wrap up, we can just hit some rapid fire questions. That's good with you.
Great with that. Let's get it.
All right. You've mentioned a lot of great artists again, but who is your favorite artist right now?
Oh man. My favorite artist right now, and what have I been listening to recently? Like I've been listening to like a lot of Navy Blue because he recently just dropped.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of Vince Staples. But I feel
He
like
just
my
dropped an album
favorite,
recently too, right?
he
Vince
did,
Staples.
he
Yeah.
did, he recently did. It was really nice. Like I say my favorite artist currently though, man, it's it's really Earl. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having like Pompeii Utility on repeat for a
Mm,
minute. So yeah.
yeah. He's a special lyricist. I can't debate that.
It's really between him and Lucky. I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
because man, that was
That's
amazing.
a good shout too.
Yes.
You mentioned Rolling Loud. It would be like a dream for you to perform at. Is there any like dream venue? Being from Chicago, like the United Center, I can imagine would be super sick. But is there anywhere else that you've like I can picture myself on that stage?
I could picture myself at the uh Allstate Arena, like pretty much any arena.
Mhm.
Honestly, I can see myself in any arena.
Yeah.
I can see myself playing Rome. Honestly, like that
No
would be
way.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's sweet.
the Hollywood Bowl to be specific too. I think that
Mm.
would be crazy. Just literally like create like awesome stuff, like stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, 100%. Um, you can answer this however you like, but what's one thing that most people don't know about you?
I Oh, that's a great question. I really love video games.
Mm.
Like, I love video games. You see the PS5 behind me. Like, you
Yeah.
see it.
I was going to ask you a little bit later on in the interview, but are you a fan of basketball?
I tune in from time to time. I'm not
Uh,
really like a huge fan, but I try to watch when I can.
Okay. Someone in the chat is saying SeaWorld.
Man, SeaWorld. SeaWorld is crazy.
Okay, so us being from Ambitious Entertainment and this being Ambition Amplified, I have to ask you this question. What does
Mhm.
ambition mean to you?
Ambition truly means like honestly perseverance. Like you're very persistent with the goal that you want and trying to accomplish and attain it, and you're willing to do it by not saying any means, but like any means precisely.
Mhm.
Um, and then also too, like being ambitious is just like going for something that isn't necessarily like truly realized in its fullest form, but still being like, hey, we can make this happen. And then like, because this happens so many times. There's so many stories. Like Kanye, to be very specific, if you've seen the Genius documentary, like every time he tried to like talk to Def Jam about them signing him like as a rapper, not as a producer, because he was already a producer,
Mhm.
they would always like try to like shun him or like be like, okay, like you can do what you want, but like, eh. But like it took him really like having that ambition to being like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. I really want people to hear this. These people are gonna feel this, and being able to like not really bet on himself and not give up. So that's really what ambition means to me.
I think that's a great uh, example. Betting on yourself as a musician probably like seems scary, especially when you're already being so vulnerable with your work. But
Hmm.
like you said, the payoff and to have that full, outcome that you're dreaming about, I think that's very cool. Okay. Before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to share with anybody or everyone, like what you're working on recently or something that you want to shout out from your life?
All right, I got a few things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, Me and my homies are throwing a show
Mm,
June 21st. If you are in Chicago, please pop out. There will be free food, there will be free everything. Flyer is in the recent post on
yep.
my page on the first pinned vote. You can go ahead check that out. I would love to see everybody there. Also got another show same week, June 26th. Me and so many crazy artists are about to go crazy. You can go ahead and get tickets linked in my bio. Right below is going to be the first ticket link. And yeah, just going to be working on music and hopefully dropping something crazy within the next few months. So be on the lookout for that.
Next few months. Got it. We'll be ready.
Yep.
All right. That is all. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. It was awesome talking to you and learning more about your work and, what drives you and stuff like that.
Thank you so much for
Um,
having me, man.
yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuned in. This has been Ambition Amplified.